The Apostle Paul comments in Genesis 1:3, repeatedly root the man's primary responsibility in the family, as well in the church, and the fact that he was created first. Not only does Paul draw attention to the fact that the man was created first, but he also notes that it is not the man who was made for the woman, but the woman for the man. This is for Andrea Kostenberger's book, God Family. Let me just read that and see what it says in 1 Corinthians 11, verse 9 onwards. Okay, verse 7 onwards. A man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and the glory of God. But woman is the glory of man. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. It is for this reason that a woman ought to have authority over her own head because of the angels. Okay, so this is very, very significant. God said, man is the image and glory of God, but woman is the glory of man. Now that's controversial in its own. Without dwelling too much on that, let me just expound on verse 8 now. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Now this is very interesting, because you can argue that man comes from the woman because man was born from his mother, from mother's womb. But how far do you go back in there? The chain of generations. But ultimately, if you go look at the first instance, when woman was created, where did she come from? From the man. It's not like the man has the power to create the woman. No, it's not. But it's God took a rib from Adam, okay, and then he breathed. It's good just to read that for ourselves. Genesis chapter 2, I believe, chapter 2 of chapter 1. Okay, now, chapter 2. All right. Chapter 1 better. So God blessed them and let them rule over the earth. Genesis chapter 1, and then Genesis chapter 2 says Eve was created. All right, so you are free to eat anything. Now that's it. Genesis 2 verse 20 onwards. So the man gave names to all the livestock, animals, etc. But for Adam no suitable helper was found. So the Lord caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. But while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." That's why man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife and become one flesh. You know why become one flesh? Because they were one flesh in the first place. Because Eve came from the body of Adam. You see, God took what? God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. It's like an anesthesia, really, but supernaturally. But while he was sleeping, God took one of the man's ribs. Wow, God just put his hand into the man's body and took a rib out of his body and then closed it up with flesh. So do you notice that every man has a one missing rib on one side of the ribs? Okay. And then the Lord God made a woman from the rib. He taken out of the man and he brought her to the man. First, you notice that the woman really is made out of the man. And then God brought the woman to the man. All right, so this is all very, very significant verses. So 1 Corinthians 11, what Paul's argument is not wrong. It is very, very intriguing, very, very important. So it said, for man did not come, 1 Corinthians 11, verse 8, 9, 10 again. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. So truly, woman was created for man, to be man's companion, to be man's, procreation and all this stuff. So it is, and the woman came from the man. That's why man holds ultimate responsibility. from God to rule and reign over this earth and the family. That's why you need godly man and godly woman to raise a family that glorifies God. Going back to the original calling of God in Genesis, it is so important. There shall be one flesh. You know why? Because therefore a man shall leave his parents and therefore man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife to become one flesh, because they are one flesh on the first place. All right, so this is a great why man's calling is big.